Everyone, this is Sophie Fox. Did I say it right?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
so
my name.
that's your name. But can you say your full name, because now you have an addition, and I would like to hear that also from you.
Sophie Villaurrutia Fox.
Villaurrutia Fox. Nice. Congratulations. So I know
Take some training.
you got married, so congratulations on that. Also, I know you got a baby, so congratulations on that.
Thank
And I'm
you.
happy you managed to put the baby to sleep a bit, so we can have this conversation.
So am I.
How do you feel?
Good, everything's good. Strange times, but we're going through it. It's okay.
There's something I like to do with everyone in the beginning of the podcast, which is to just take a few breaths together, just to relax, tune in, move the body if necessary, if anything is tight.
Shake it out, shake it out.
Hey, shake it up, whatever, after a house, whatever you like.
I'm good.
So I like to start always from the beginning, which means, where were you born?
Sheffield, the UK.
Okay. When was that, if I may ask?
18th of August 1992.
1990.
I'm a baby.
Yeah, baby. Which is good, because most people guess that they usually avoid talking about the age, but I like that you like.
Because they're old.
True. Some of them.
I can say it because I'm still young. Ask me in 10 years and I'll be like, next question.
Okay. So how would you describe your childhood?
Amazing. My mum worked a lot, so we spent a lot of time with my grandma, my nan, who is like our family's world. We all love her. She's crazy and she's like such a special lady. So it was great growing up with her, and my granddad, of course, who passed away. And my mum did everything that she could to be there. Obviously, my mum and dad split up when I was 5, and they did it. Like, I know that most marriages are quite divorces they can get messy with the kids, but we were totally protected from everything. There was nothing major. And my dad obviously is still a huge part of my life, and he always was. So I had a great upbringing.
Nice.
Always good.
Nice. Yeah, for me it's always beautiful to hear when people have their parents being divorced, but in a way that still everything is.
It's so important. And even like now, I've seen so many families that struggle with, especially when there's kids involved, can get really messy. And I'm just always thankful that we didn't experience that. That my dad was there. He might have done stupid things, but he was there, and so was my mum. And we had loads of family around us. We did everything that a normal family would do. Then my mum married, and we had a stepdad who disciplined us. So that was not in a bad way. He just was like, "This is crazy. Let's sort it out." And yeah, my dad then, he didn't remarry, but he had another 2 kids, so it made our family even bigger. And there's 16 and 12 now, so yeah, it's nice to see him, I don't know, grow up and be able to be there for them and give them advice and discipline them, which is necessary. But no, it's good. I don't remember having issues, really.
Yeah, this is what I said before. I really love to hear these stories. Even my girlfriend, her mom got divorced, but still the stepdad and her dad became really close, so they can support the family. Because I grew up in a completely different way of like divorced family, and it's always good to see this maturity that people can still have and do the
It's
best
not
for
always easy. Like, there wasn't, when my mum remarried, it wasn't like my stepdad and my dad, they didn't talk for years, and then my mum didn't talk with my dad for years. But it was the same principle. Like, even though they didn't really talk, we both had both of them. So me and my sister, we had both of them. So it wasn't like it was stressful or anything. And then later down the road, they were more mature and they made the peace, and now everyone gets on. We're not like, we wouldn't all sit down and have a meal or whatever. But when we went to, so I got married in Havana in Cuba, and they all went, and there's nothing negative there. Everyone just gets on with it.
Beautiful. So how does it feel to you now that you are a mom?
I mean, with regards to this,
well,
or
yeah,
just
in general, how do you feel being a mom? Because I met you when you were not a mom, and now you're a mom.
I'm still the same person. A lot of things have changed, obviously. A lot of learning I had, obviously, because we live in Italy, we don't have our family here. So it's really like you're on your own. And at the start, it was really difficult because obviously my husband, Yoandi, works away every weekend, and he's the only one working. So I was on my own quite a bit. And that's why it was so important to have my family. They came over nearly every weekend, every other weekend. There was someone flying over to come and help me and support me, because the first few months were really rough for me in a lot of ways. So I needed support. I needed anything I could get. And I wasn't scared about being on my own with her, because I knew what I was doing. I was like, okay, but it was more, I could look after her, but I couldn't look after me. So I couldn't cook. I was eating shit, whatever was there, kind of thing. And I was breastfeeding, which was really bad for me. I wish it wasn't, but it was. So yeah, it's been a rough ride, but she's 6 months old. And things are a lot better. They're a lot easier. She still doesn't sleep. So it's been like 6 months of no sleep, but we're getting through it.
Since you're now mentioning your husband, Yoandi, I'm curious how it is for you guys, because you're both dancers, you're both professional dancers, and I know that you travel also a lot. So how it is how do you work with this now? Like how it is to be a dancer and a parent? How does these two go together for you?
Well, luckily, we met and we were already in this profession, so it wasn't like one suddenly started traveling. It was like, this is the life that we have. So in that aspect, it was already set and we were used to it. It was every weekend he'd go somewhere, I'd go somewhere, Friday, and we'd be back on Monday. So it was normal. Now, obviously things change, mainly for me, because I had to sacrifice almost my career to have a baby, because I don't have a partner. I work solo. So it wasn't like I had someone booking dates for me for when I was due back, or being active and looking, because it's really important. Social media and to keep working is really important. So I didn't have that. So it was like I was aware before getting pregnant. I was like, well, if one day it happens, like, I have to be aware that it's going to be really difficult and I might not come back. And that's pretty much the case. It's not that I'm not coming back. It's that if you're not there for a year, people forget. Organisers forget. If you're not in one event, if people don't see you, it's really hard to stay current and to stay in the scene. So for me, it was difficult, because it was like I was traveling every weekend and now I'm home every weekend, and it's a huge break in my life that I'm like, okay, this is massive change. Not only have I got a baby to look after, but like my life is completely different. For Yoandi, it's the same. Well, it's not the same, but there's other sacrifices. Now he tries to come back on a Sunday, or if he doesn't have many classes, he'll try to be there like as short as possible. Not to not be in the event, but to come home and support me because he knows I'm home alone, especially if people aren't flying over to help me. And then before all this happened, all this drama, he was in France and I was really sick. I had a fever and I had a cough, and it was probably something that's spreading around at the minute, or a virus, whatever. So I was so sick and I had to look after the baby, and there was no one to help me. And I'm phoning him like, please, can you get on a flight back? Like, I need you here. And he's like, there isn't any flight. And it's like, imagine being in his position where I needed him home and there was no way to get back. So it's really difficult and things like that. And then the baby got sick, obviously, because she was with me all the time. And then I texted him, I was like, we're in hospital. And he was like, oh my God, I need to come home. And there was no way to come home. So it's like, it's difficult. It's really, psychologically, sometimes it can be really tricky. But you just gotta be strong, get through it.
Yeah, well, I really want to honor you for that, because I already know, even if you don't have a kid, how much sacrifice to be a dancer means already. Like it's just, our profession is so demanding in so many ways, to be always fresh, to when you're not sleeping for days, to still smile, to be good, to be everything.
That's the other thing. Like, I was texting him saying, oh my God, I'm in hospital, I'm really poorly, the baby's poorly, she's not eating, she's not drinking, I need you here. And then he had to get ready and go and teach a class and be happy and not think about anything. And then at night when he's like, are you okay? Like, and I'm like, no, like, I'm really worried. And then I'm begging him, find a way to come home. And then he has to go to a party and dance with everyone all night and, have this alter ego that's like, okay, yeah, I'm fine, I'm working, I'm professional. And it's not just this. I think every artist feels that at some point or another when something happens in their home life or whatever. Maybe you're just having an off day and you have to go out and be Sophie Fox. I'm happy, I don't have a life, I'm just here to please. For sure, every artist has had a day like that.
And there's something I always feel, that artists in general in our culture, yes, we're not the same way treated as, I don't know, architects or whatever profession they are, but I feel there's so much devotion in this profession that I haven't seen in so many other professions in this way. Like and again, I'm hoping for the best, that one day art will be uplifted and treated a bit better in this culture. Also, I see it now in this situation, how artists are being helped by the government or not being helped by the government. And whenever I hear someone is an artist or a dancer, really hats off to everyone who does it, especially you now as a mom.
Even every art, musicians, whatever, it's something you have to constantly work for. There's no stability ever. It's like they could just phone you tomorrow and say, oh, that event's cancelled, and then you're like, oh well, thanks for letting me know. And that's it. You don't work that weekend or that month or whatever. Especially in a case like this, it would be so nice to have a way that someone's got you back. Even when I was pregnant, like maternity leave, I didn't have that, obviously. No one was helping us. So it all fell on Yoandi's shoulders to support a family. And it's, especially now, like when we start getting cancellations for this virus, it was like, oh, now what are we going to do? Oh no, the gyms are closed, so there's no regular lessons. Okay, let's do a private lesson. And he couldn't teach anyway. It's like, times like this is where people realize.
And this is something I see now in the social media. I know me first, I don't talk much about the situation now because I'm now cancelled for 4 months in advance, completely cancelled, zero work or income. And I know people who come to classes don't really need to know everything, but I do feel lately that it's good that people a bit speak up a bit more that in which situation are dancers now, because people go to regular jobs, they will go back to regular jobs, many still have salaries even in this situation, but we don't. And I like to see when people are supported. With example, after I think Connection, a lot of people are supporting their school. I think it's beautiful. And I believe it's good to actually say this, to speak that we are not in a good situation at the moment. And if there's someone to support by, we can put online classes, what we're all doing now, live class. I feel it's a beautiful way to be supported in this way until the moment everything goes back to normal.
The other thing is that we give people a lot of us. So we give our knowledge, our time, our energy, so many other things. And then sometimes they forget that we're real people, and that at home we have a family, or we have parents or elderly grandparents, whatever. And it's hard to forget. It's sometimes people look at us and say they're fine, they've got a perfect life, when it's really not the case for a lot of dancers or musicians or organizers. It's a different kind of job. It really is.
Maybe I think I forgot to mention, but today we have a pajama edition of the podcast. I'm in my bathrobe with tea, so yeah, we're today in a chill version of the podcast. I like it. So we come back to the part of dancing, or when was the first time you encountered dance? Or when was your first time you discovered it?
So basically, my sister was into like every kind of hip hop music and rap, and she like really taught me everything you need to know about it. She's now into like heavy metal and stuff. I don't know what happened to her. But when we were young, she was my older sister, so I copied everything that she did. And in school, we were a performing arts school, so it was specialised. So you could take dance, drama as an actual subject on its own and get recognition for it. So I took dance and I started break dancing.
Wow, I didn't know that.
With my best friend. She was B-girl Sal. I was B-girl Soph. But in England, like it's kind of normal. I think you go through the cycles of all the styles first. And we used to go see breakdance battles, and they were in the town centre. Like there was a big crowd for it. And then hip hop, and then my sister got into salsa, and I was like, well, she's into it, I'm into it. So I remember my first class, and I was I must have been 12, 11, 12, no, 12, 13, let's say. And I was holding this like old fella's arms, like hands, and I'm dancing, and my face was like, and my sister's going, smile. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what is this? Why am I holding this man's hands? Like, I didn't know it would be like this. And after, I don't know how long, but I stuck with it because my sister stuck with it. And she started teaching. And then eventually I started helping out. And then it was in Sheffield that Kizomba, I got to know Kizomba. So there's in Sheffield we have two big universities, and there's a lot of students that come from all over the world to go there. So it's quite a mixed city, and there was loads of Cape Verdeans, loads of Angolans, and my best friend at the time, who still is my best friend, she started a salsa night, and then they started putting Kizomba. So then I got to know Kizomba DJs. Then I started to, and it was like hip hop, salsa, hip hop and breakdance got too hard for me. So I was like, okay, let's jump on this train. And that was it, really, from then.
When was this? Which year?
Oh, I don't know the year.
The Kizomba part.
Maybe like 2002, something like that. Maybe no, Wouldn't have been earlier. I don't know. I'm not good at maths.
So you went very young actually to these clubs and places.
Well, I was 16, 15, 16, and I wasn't allowed in all these places, obviously, because you have to be 18 in England and they're strict with it. So the way you have to get in is by huh? No, all my sisters after, when I was going clubbing, I stole my sister's ID. No, they used to say that I was the DJ's helper. So we'd go early with the DJ, and then they'd say, she's our responsibility. I wasn't allowed to drink or do anything. It was purely stand there, dance if you want to dance, or chill if you want to chill. But there was like my best friend, because also being in such an environment of dance and especially salsa.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Slow down, slow dance, before we get a bit too ugly. Let me kiss the ground, so thinking about God is the will. Can't lift our hands, no way. Can't live forever. Shangri-La's in Norwich, believe it, I say. Better believe it, I say. I know that you feel me, Better believe it, I say. Slow down, I got you. We don't need to understand things. We don't need an answer.
Everyone was older than me. I was 16 and people were 30. So, and they were best friends. They were my friends, like actual friends. So I had to mature super fast. So I wasn't doing any stupid stuff. So when my friends were in the park getting drunk and messing around, I was out dancing. So it was a good way for me to be good and not do any crazy stuff. Not that I didn't, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that's how they used to smuggle me in. I was a DJ's helper. I don't know what that means. Probably at that time, like, I don't know, holding the CDs, be like, this one.
Nice.
But yeah.
So how was it, the Kizomba? How did you, because I know a bit of the story, but I think, of course, there's more about how did you start doing Kizomba or even thinking about going professional, see it as a career.
So I went to a few festivals with my best friend, Anna. I'll give her a name, Anna. We went to Batuque in London. We went to Afro Fever in Lisbon. And those were the two events that we went to. I didn't go to any more. And then I was like, people are dancing for a living. Like, people are doing this. And I remember in Batuque, I saw there was a show. I was in the shows. And I, at the time, was in sixth form. So I was finishing my exams. And I just started crying. I was like, I want to do that. I could do that. Why am I wasting my time with all this stuff? I could do it. And then there I met Tony and also in Lisbon. And in Lisbon, I helped him out in a class. And he was like, Sophie, I'm looking for a partner. And I'm like, all right. And he goes, are you, like, what do you think? And this time it was like years later, maybe 3 years later. And I was like, I know you, you're not serious. And he was like, no, come on, like, I'm really thinking, like, I really need a partner. And so I was like, yeah, cool. Well, if you're thinking serious, let me know. Because by this time I was studying nursing and I was in my second year and I was miserable. And I was, I said to him, okay, well, if you're serious, let me know. And about a week later, he phoned me and was like, can you come to Paris next week? And I was like, yeah, okay. So I went to Paris. We trained a show, which was the military one. And that was it. Before we left, we got to the airport early and he just gave me like an agenda full of dates. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, what do you mean we're going to all these places? He was like, yeah, from now on I don't travel without you, and that's how it is, and that's how it was. So it was I got home, I quit uni, and I was like, Mom, next week I'm going to Istanbul, okay? She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. Is that all right? She's like, yeah, all right then. And I'm quitting uni. And she's like, wait, what? But she was like, you know what, Sophie, you're miserable. Go do what you need to do. That was it.
Beautiful support from your parents right away. Nice.
They trust me. They know I'm crazy.
Yeah, you're following your dreams. I think that's a good kind of crazy. I'm curious about the dance world and traveling around the world. How was it for you? Like, what do you feel are the biggest gifts you received from just doing this kind of profession?
100% meeting people, talking to people. Like I said, I was doing nursing and I was 19, and I just didn't have any life experience to help these people that needed help. I didn't know how to be compassionate. I didn't know how to make people happy or make them smile. I didn't know people, and I wanted to. And when I started traveling, that was the best thing, like just making friends or not making friends, just having these random conversations with people from all over the world. And every place has like a different, I don't know, all the cultures, it just stuck with me. So for me, it was the best part of it. I mean, I'd like to say that it was traveling the world and seeing all these countries, but it's not, because it's never the case. You go, you see the airport, you see the hotel, you go back. Like, there's no, you could tell me, you could drop me off, blindfold me, drop me off in an airport and say which airport this is, and I'd know. But you could take me to like a famous landscape in a country or a famous tourist spot, and I'd be like, I don't know where I am. There's like the reality of it. So definitely, if I was going to take one thing, it's the people, knowing, talking to people.
Oh, beautiful. So basically, you manifested your secret desire, which just shifted from nursing to dancing, because your desire was to meet people. So this is what you got in the end. Yeah. Unplanned. There's something I love to also ask the people: what is your favorite topic to teach? When you teach, what is your favorite topic and why?
Topic or like dance style?
Well, workshop. Let's say team workshop to teach. What is your? It can be any dance style, but just like, what is your favorite topic to teach, to share with people, and why?
So when I'm teaching Tichina, it's I always take the girls. You'll know because I taught with you, remember?
Yeah.
And I always take the girls and I say, girls, respect yourselves. And I love that. I mean, it's a longer conversation than that. But it's about dancing, and is a dance. It's not meant to be anything else. So, because if you think, I don't know, if when I upload videos and it's like me being all, and my dad watches that video and he's like, Sophie, I'm gonna stop watching your videos because I don't get it. And he's like, no, Dad, let me sit and let me talk to you about it, because it's not anything, you know, I'm not stripping or anything. It's a sensual dance. It needs closeness. And that's as far as it goes. It just means you're holding the person. And I think in Kizomba and stuff like that, people need to recognise that. Some people don't, but it's a part of it. So I'd like to talk about that, the connection, and why it makes you feel good or why it makes you feel bad, and what the boundaries are. I like to make women aware of that, because as a woman, I know that some men don't know that there are boundaries.
Okay, some people may not know, but Sophie and me had a few events we were teaching together. It was a big pleasure to do that. But also I do remember moments when you were teaching and I was watching you. And what I do remember very strongly, for me, you were embodying the quality of being like a queen, this attitude of, you know, respecting yourself, being as a queen. Also, I remember I would see it in your posture. I would see it in the way you dance. It's like, yes, it can be sensual and sexy even, but still there's this elegance in that I really admired about you. You still keep the elegance, but like you said, there are boundaries, but you really give the woman a feeling they're beautiful, they're powerful. This is a very
I think it's important because I know when I teach ladies, a lot of ladies, especially tall ladies, they tend to like shrink down. Well, I'm tall and I can't change that. So if I dance with a smaller guy, I'm still going to be tall. And it's things like that. You just got to be in a persona. But then it's confusing because if you see me walking down the street and I'm like with a hoodie on, they're like, who is that?
So
but yeah,
you mentioned. Sorry. You mentioned Tichina. So this is something I asked recently another guest. What do you feel about the Tichina that you learn or you feel that is Tichina in this comparing to the situation where we have now? Because trends are changing very quickly. Yeah, but I also want to say that there is a beauty about creating something new. I feel as an art, this is the main thing about artists, being an artist, like a painter, to create. So where are your maybe visions or limitations, or maybe you feel there are, or how do you see the difference in what is happening now in the world of Tichina?
So when I was introduced to Tichina, it was playing with the music, being connected to that person, feeling every single tiny movement that was there and moving as one, which I guess in some way they still do that, but it wasn't about showing the girl off or tricks. It was all about the dance and the feeling and the closeness, the connection. It was all about the fluidity, and I feel like that's not really current in the new Tichina. There's no meaning to it. It's just obviously to them there is. I'll be correct, but for how we learned it was like getting in the moment and kind of forgetting everything. I never close my eyes because I feel funny when I close my eyes. I go dizzy. But there are moments that sometimes you connect with a person so deep, or so you just understand it all, and you're like, wow, in a really peaceful way.
Do you allow yourself to fully let go when you dance with someone?
It depends. It's not like it's like I'm always aware that I'm dancing with someone, if you know what I mean. I don't even think I'd fully let go dancing by myself and be like, I'll just do what I want, because I have this voice in my head all the time, like, chill out. So probably not.
Okay.
If it's happened, it's like when I've just found the perfect connection, which is few and far between.
So what I hear you say is that you, and from what I know, you love to have fun when you dance. This I remember really well. Like you love to enjoy, smile, but this deep connection is very rare for you that it happens.
Maybe I'm just superficial.
You're not.
No, for me, because I teach dance, I think that people, for me anyway, I think people learn better in a relaxed environment. So I think that if you have a laugh with them, if you make it enjoyable, people will leave and say, "Oh, I learned something." If you're like, I don't think people learn well that way. Some do, obviously, but people that learn that way need to go and write it down after, or
I feel in the Kizomba community there is, okay, I will compare a little bit. For example, if you go to hip hop class, there's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of there's also discipline. And I feel this is something in Kizomba, there's a lot of laughter, but rarely I see discipline.
It's the same in salsa, because I've sat in my husband's class, and sometimes, because he's a professionally trained dancer. He's had a lot of discipline. So I know that he teaches his group. He has a 16-year-old, I think he's 16. He's an amazing dancer, but he's not disciplined. And so he has to discipline him as if he was his dad. And even in regular classes, because here in Italy, there's kids that are like 9, 10, 11, 12, and they're growing up in this environment. And he takes the same role that if they're not doing good in school, then they're not doing the class. And he talks to the parents. Because kids are kids, aren't they? They mess about a lot. They joke and whatever. And if they do it in his class, it's like, And I know that he's taken that role with especially kids, but I don't know. I think that we're teaching adults, so I don't need to discipline anyone. If you don't know how to behave, then it's your fault. As long as you're not disrupting me or anyone else in the class. Respect.
Okay, we're slowly getting to the last piece of this interview, and this last piece is a quick question answer Q&A. So it means I would ask something, you quickly answer. So 1, 2 words, maybe a sentence. So no thinking, just going for it. Are you ready?
Are you?
I am.
Go.
So, what is your favorite word?
Pancake.
Good choice. What is your least favorite word?
Bot.
A what?
A bot. It's a
What is
bottle for a bait. Well, it's a bottle.
that?
My mum says bot and it drives me crazy.
Okay. What turns you on? What excites you in life?
Sun, happiness, chocolate.
Okay, what turns you off?
Rudeness.
Who's your favorite singer or band or artist, musical artist?
Lauryn Hill.
Oh, yes, I listened to her yesterday. Who's your least favorite artist?
Slipknot. I don't know. Never listened to it.
Okay, what is your and just so you know, you're open to say this. What is your favorite curse word?
Shit, bugger, arsehole, TikTok fat.
Okay.
Several.
Accepted.
In one.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt, or you always wanted to?
I'm studying to be a psychologist, but I don't know how that's going.
It's going.
It's good.
So, what profession other than yours you would never like to attempt?
Pole dancer. Although they do make good money.
I think so. In this time of crisis.
Me. Even in a crisis.
Okay, and last question, my favorite. If you're a superhero, what would be your superpower?
I'd fly. No, I wouldn't. I'd be invisible because I'm scared of heights. I'd be invisible. This quick round is not very quick, is it? I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. So also, I will add one more question. What do you feel is your superpower now in your life?
Being a mom. Shit's hard.
Yeah. Sophie, I want to thank you for finding the time. And I know it's not easy for you to find the time, you know, with a baby and everything to meet up and do this. It's been a while I saw you, but also besides this interview, I want to thank you and to honor you for who you are and what you brought to this dancing, because you did a lot. And you're also, like I mentioned before, you're bringing a lot to the ladies. You're bringing something very special and important, I feel, what this community needs. So yeah, I feel I want to honor you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, it's been a beautiful interview, and we'll keep in touch.
For sure.
Say hello to your Habibi.
My Habibi.
Habibi. So yeah, Take care, and until next time.
Thank you very much for having me. Stay safe, everyone. Stay at home.
Yeah, stay at home. Hashtag.
We'll see you soon.
That's
One
it.
day.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
I like you when you